It's no secret that we love animals on this channel. There are so many videos that have shown us how big, wild, and heroic the members of the animal kingdom can be. And I know a lot of you love animals for the simple facts that animals are cute. But have you seen baby animals before? Those guys win the prize when it comes to cuteness. For that reason, we've made a full video about newborn animals so we can all enjoy watching and learning a bit more about them. You'll be quite surprised to see that a lot of these newborns look nothing like their adult versions, like the animals at the top of my list, so get ready for a lot of cuteness. These newborns are gonna melt your heart. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? Kangaroos. When I think of baby animals, one of the first animals that comes to my mind is the kangaroo. This Australian native is known for its unique pouch where babies stay with their moms until they're ready to face the real world. But have you seen how small the babies are when they're newborns? These babies are slightly bigger than the size of a jelly bean. They crawl out of their mothers and climb up their bodies until they find safety in their pouches. With such a small size, they better stay inside those pouches. Dolphins. Dolphins have become kind of a celebrity in our videos. They are smart, they save lives, and they're overall friendly to us humans. There are 32 different species of dolphins that we know of, and their size is very depending on where they live. For example, bottlenose dolphin calves living in cold waters are slightly bigger than the ones who live in warm waters. This is because those dolphins in the cold waters require more blubber to stay warm. But most of these baby dolphins are between 40 to 50 inches long, and they can weigh anything between 22 and 44 kilos. They're very small compared to adult dolphins, but they're larger than the average human newborn baby. Hummingbirds. If hummingbirds are already one of the smallest animals in the world, how big can their babies be? Well, let me start by saying that they're about the size of a coffee bean. Female hummingbirds have between 1 to 3 broods of babies every year. The number depends on their species, and each brood usually has 2 eggs, and after 15 days or so, these eggs give rise to the babies that we will call chicks. And of course, small birds are born in small nests. The hummingbird's nests are about the size of half a walnut shell. That's insanely small and quite fragile. I would be too nervous to hold one of these in my hand. Polar bears. Every winter, a bunch of polar bears are welcomed into the world. It must be a very exciting time in the Arctic, especially for the families having the babies, since polar bear moms usually give birth once every 2 or 3 years. But when they do, they give birth to 2 and sometimes even 3 little cubs at a time. Now, since they're born during the winter, we might not get to spot the newborns. They stay with their mom until springtime, enjoy her cuddles and nursing. And it's definitely the best place to be for them, because their fur is not developed enough to survive the cold winter. Their eyes are closed during their first month of life, which keeps them quite inactive. But again, there's not much they can do while the winter is still on. Once spring comes, they are certainly ready to go out and explore the world, though. Piglets. Pigs are heavy and stocky animals, but when they're newborns, piglets can weigh as little as 1 kilo. But within a week, they double their weight, which shouldn't surprise you, given the fact that these animals eat a lot. In fact, once they reach the 2-week mark, most piglets are ready to eat anything. And in the case of wild pigs, they are born in groups of 6 and sometimes even 14 pigs, but they stay in their nest for the first 10 days, and after 3 months, they're finally weaned. Penguins. The next baby on this list is quite clumsy, but also pretty fluffy. I'm talking, of course, about baby penguins. The fairy penguins, which are considered to be the smallest kind of penguin, weigh about 35 grams when they're newborns, which you could easily mistake for those chicks you see at the farms. And then there's also the emperor penguins, which can weigh about 315 grams when they're newborns. You might remember them from the movie Happy Feet. There are different kinds of penguins, but most of them come in pairs as they usually lay 2 eggs at a time. However, the emperor penguins do just 1. One of the cutest facts about baby penguins is the fact that they tend to stick together so they can keep each other warm in the midst of the cold temperatures that surround them. And you will always find an adult penguin near them, making sure they stay safe. It sounds like penguins are pretty committed to watching each other's backs. Horses. Horses, or actually foals, since we're talking about newborns, are born after 11 months of gestation. Birth usually happens very quickly, which is common in prey animals, and it is more likely to be born at night than during the daytime. Any labor that lasts more than 24 hours is usually a medical issue. Compared to predators that are born helpless, horses are born already quite mature and mobile. You can see foals hanging out with their herd after a few hours of being born. They grow fast, putting on over a kilo of weight per day. So, compared to other newborn animals, horses are pretty much a miniature version of their adult counterparts. Hyenas. Alright, hyenas are not cute at all. I think we can all agree on that one. They're quite scary, and the depiction in The Lion King certainly doesn't help their reputation. However, you might change your mind when you look at their cute little babies. After spending around 100 days inside the womb, hyenas are born in groups of up to 4 cubs at a time. The mothers feed their cubs for a year, or sometimes even a year and a half. They start eating meat at 5 months old, and unlike other animals, hyenas are born with their eyes wide open, making them very aware of their surroundings. It is at the 1-year mark when they begin to learn the hunting skills from their mom. But if they're too small, they might have to stay at their den with an adult hyena watching over them. If only they could stay that small forever. Red pandas. Well, there are actually some animals that don't grow that much and keep a pretty small size throughout their lifetime, much like the red panda. But when these little ones are born, they weigh only 5 ounces, and when they're born, they're fully covered in fur that keeps them protected from their usual cold environment. Once they reach adulthood, they can be about 25 inches long and their weight is about 6.5 kilos. And also they have a tail that can be around 18 inches long. That's about 3/4 their size. But still, it's a relatively small size compared to other animals out there. Cheetah. Remember how I said horses are already mature and mobile once they're born? Cheetahs are the total opposite. Even though they grow up to be one of the most ferocious animals in the world, as well as the fastest one of them all, they're quite defenseless and dependent when they're little. Unlike the spotted fur of the adults, baby cheetahs have a darker ash-gray colored fur that allows them to camouflage with their surroundings. This allows them to stay safe from any predators out there. They even have this sort of mohawk haircut popping out of their heads, which also helps them to blend in with their surroundings and stay safe. It's pretty interesting to know that one of the scariest wild animals is so vulnerable. But don't expect that to last very long. Once they are 5 months old, you can expect to see them wrestling and playing rough with each other. So enjoy the cuteness while it lasts, before their hungry predator nature comes alive. Giraffes. Considered Africa's cutest newborns, baby giraffes are born into this world after 15 months of gestation. That's 6 months longer than a human being. When they're born, they come out in a Superman position while the mother stands up. Now, that's quite impressive considering the fact that giraffes are quite tall. The babies have to fall from about 2 meters high onto the ground. But that's where the Superman position helps the babies to break the fall a little and land safely. It might sound scary, but trust me, standing up is the way to go for them. If giraffes were born while sitting down, the baby would be squashed in a heartbeat. Giraffes rarely lay down in the wild as they always had to be ready to move in case there are any predators near them. So next time you have to stand up for a long time, just think of giraffes. They pretty much live their whole lives on their feet, starting from the moment they're born. Now it's time for the day's best pick. We've seen a lot of animals today, but the ones I have at the top of the list have some fascinating facts. The pictures I chose for today shows these 2 animals, but do they really look like that when they're newborns? Well, let's find out with snakes. Unlike most animals on this list, snakes are born independent, and they start to fend for themselves as soon as they're out of their eggs. I guess it's one of the big differences between mammals and other animals. I knew snakes were cold-blooded, but snake moms really took the meaning of that to a whole nother level. I mean, who leaves their newborn babies to fend for themselves? Well, apparently snakes do. Baby snakes can be anything between 7 centimeters to 43 centimeters long, depending on the species. And if you're not a fan of snakes, you might find the next fact a bit disturbing. Snakes can lay about 100 eggs in one go. That's a lot of snakes, but only 70% of snakes lay eggs. There are 30% of them that give live birth like the rattlesnake, the boa, and the garter. Usually snakes are born during the spring because they hibernate during the winter and need the warmth to function. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it really works. Elephants. Did you think 15 months of gestation was long for giraffes? Now have a look at the elephants. They spend 22 months inside their mother. That's almost 2 years. By that time, human babies are already out and should be walking. But elephants wait a long time. For that reason, it shouldn't come as a surprise that their babies are not small at all. They can weigh anything between 80 to 135 kilograms, which is way heavier than all the other babies on this list. And they can stand about 1 meter tall. As newborns, they can't see very well, but they can recognize their mother by their smell, touch, scent, and sound, which goes to show that their connection with their mother comes by instinct. They stay very close to their moms and they drink from their milk for about 2 years, and sometimes even longer than that. They can actually drink milk until they're about 10 years old. And they can also drink about 3 gallons of that milk per day. But once they're 4 months old, they also start eating plants and they learn to use their trunk when they're about 6 to 8 months old. It sounds like the right habits for the largest animal dwelling on land. Those are all the newborn animal facts I have for you today. I think it's pretty impressive and interesting to know that all of these babies look cute right now. But soon enough, they will grow up to be ferocious, big, wild, and in the case of hyenas, scary. So let's enjoy them while they're all small. Which of these animals did you like the most? Are there any other newborn animals that you didn't see on this list but that you like? Let us know in the comments section down below. That's our video for today, folks, and I will see you all next time. Later, everybody.